January monthly member briefing. I can't believe it's the new year. Here we are, 2023. We were just talking offline. It seems like we've jumped in and we've gone from 0 to 60 in the first day, but what an exciting year. We're looking forward to a great year with all of our partners in the chamber and working in the MSA. I'm Thomas Deere. I'm the Vice President of Sales Engagement at the chamber, and I have the privilege of being your host today. And I want to give you a big thank you to each of you for joining us today, and a thank you for your partnership. These sessions are designed to provide you with information, solutions, and connections needed to keep your businesses thriving. Today, you've joined in listen-only mode with your microphones and cameras muted, but we do encourage you to ask questions throughout the program using the chat box, and we will address those questions as we progress today. We have an incredible lineup. I've had the privilege to talk to setting this up. As we've been setting up before the show, we've been able to banter back and forth, and I know you're going to enjoy the lineup. It's my pleasure to welcome Brendan Cull, the president of the Cincinnati USA Regional Chamber. Brendan, take it away.
Thank you, Thomas, and Happy New Year, everybody. It is a gorgeous day in Cincinnati. If you've looked out your window, you're getting a light show, not quite as great as Blink, but it's been pretty spectacular this morning. If you're into those sorts of things, so thanks for being here with us this morning. I'm really excited about this session this morning. It is going to be full of love and honor, and we're going to get to that in just a little bit, but this is a great day to just kick off the new year. And Thomas in our pre-session was talking a little bit about how this new year feels like everyone just got shot out of a cannon and things got going really quickly. And here at the chamber, it definitely got really going very quickly when the last day of the year, we got a phone call that said that the President of the United States was going to be here in Cincinnati at the foot of the Brent Spence Bridge to announce that once and for all, we have a final financing plan in place to build a companion to the Brent Spence Bridge project. And this has been obviously something that's been in the works for decades. The Cincinnati Chamber has been a leading organization. We run the Build Our New Bridge Now coalition. I see Jill Meyer is on in listen-only mode this morning. She's the president of the Build Our New Bridge coalition and has been deeply involved in making sure that this organization, everywhere we went, in Columbus, in Washington, D.C., folks heard from us that our #1 infrastructure priority was fixing this bridge. Now, all of you know, if you've been around in this town for a long time, that there have been certainly occasions where we've been teased before. In fact, multiple presidents have come to the foot of the Brent Spence Bridge and talked about it. President Biden brought with him Leader Mitch McConnell, Senator Rob Portman on his first day as a former U.S. Senator, Senator Sherrod Brown, Governors Andy Beshear, and Governor Mike DeWine from Ohio. One of the most bipartisan groups of people that I've ever seen in my 2.5 decades of politics and government. It was a tremendous showing, and it was real. We received $1.6 billion for the project. The project will get on schedule very soon, and an RFP will go out, and we'll be off to the races. And the Brent Spence Bridge corridor has not been off to the races for a long time. So this is a huge thing to celebrate. It was a great way to kick off the new year. Kudos to everybody who has been involved in this. Our business community really leaned in. Our elected officials locally have been really supportive of making sure this happens. So it was a great celebration to start out the year. Speaking of celebrations, it's a playoff week here in Cincinnati. We're pretty excited about that too. Of course, we're all fans and we love to cheer for our Bengals. Hooday to everybody who's on the call. But I also want to remind folks that this has an economic impact to our region, and that's important. It means small businesses are adding jobs. They are seeing economic lift from the fact that we have a home playoff game in downtown Cincinnati on Sunday night. And it is a great way for our economy to be exposed to the world. We'll be on national television. Obviously, we had a great run last year all the way to the Super Bowl, and it had a tremendous positive reputational lift for our community. And that has economic output to it for our region. So we're really excited about that. Last thing I want to make sure I mention before I introduce President Crawford. We have a number of applications open right now for our leadership programs. We Ascend Cincy Lead, our first class of 2023 of the Building Cultural Competency Program, and our leadership roundtables. So please check out our website. These are incredibly popular programs. Cincy Lead especially is a new program that we launched about a year and a half ago that just has taken off. It's a short cohort program for leaders in our community to be able to get to know one another and get connected. Later this month, we're going to launch for the first time Hello Cincy Executive, which is going to be a small cohort program for new C-suite executives that have moved to Cincinnati or Cincinnati region broadly from another place. We've heard repeatedly from our board members and our executives that they want to make sure that their new executives who come to town from outside of Cincinnati get this place, and we help them understand and build a network so that they put down roots and that they stay. So we're going to lean into that space in a big way in 2023, and we look forward to your help in making sure that that gets kicked off. Later on, you're going to hear from my friend and colleague, Audrey Treasure, who's going to talk about the Workforce Innovation Center. We've got some great speakers on here. I see Tiana is involved on the call today. Tiana, it's great to see you in your new role at Cincinnati Works, so welcome. Right now, I'm excited to welcome President Gregory Crawford to our monthly member briefing. And I said that I would start today by talking about love and honor, because that's what folks at Miami say. That is what I have learned. And it's a great little saying. I love the fact that it's like a universal greeting when a Miami person meets another Miami person, that they're able to say that. President Crawford, as you may know, is the 22nd president of Miami University. He has an official biography, of course, that I have seen and read, and in it you can read about his service at the University of Notre Dame, at Brown, and his many degrees from Kent State University. Now, I know people throw the term brilliant around a lot, but Dr. Crawford is quite literally brilliant. His work includes more than 400 research and education publications, 21 US patent applications. He has degrees in math, physics, and chemical physics. And now, though Oxford is beautiful seemingly all of the time, if you've been to Miami's campus and walked around that campus, particularly in the fall, it is a little slice of heaven. But despite the fact that Oxford is beautiful all the time, President Crawford has done a tremendous job about making sure that he is visible in our region as a whole. That means being in Cincinnati, downtown. He has served on the board of Centrifuge. He's been an active member of our region's business community. He's regularly here. He's been actively engaged in the state policy space, and I think this is really important for Miami as it plays as one of the most important institutions in our state. And I think he's built a great team at Miami that has helped build effective partnerships in our region. I spent some time last year on campus with President Crawford and his team, Randy Thomas and Sarah Lindner last year. They showed me the incredible new College at Elm facility that's getting ready to come online that I suspect that President Crawford may speak about today, and talked about some of the major developments that have been happening on campus. When we sat and talked for a little bit prior to the tour, President Crawford and I, what stood out was this. President Crawford is so darn proud of the students who are at Miami and who are coming to Miami. And our job as a regional business community, our number one job, is to keep them here in our region. We should compete for every single one of these students, whether they are already from here or they are coming from Chicago or New York or anywhere all over the world. They're receiving a tremendous education and experience at Miami, and then we should make sure that extends to their career right out of college in our region's business community. So I'm excited for you all to hear more about what's happening at Miami University. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to President Gregory Crawford. Welcome.
Well, thank you. It's great to be here, and thanks for that nice introduction, but I'll go ahead and jump right into it. And so what I thought I would do today was just go through our vision for the future and show you kind of what some of the things that are going on campus that are going to hit here in 2023. So there's three pillars that we focus on, and one is transdisciplinary, to really cross boundaries in our disciplines and not to be so insular, but to really work across colleges and departments and those on the outside in industry and external stakeholders. And then to be more collaborative in nature with our research and our curriculum, really building out things that are crossing those boundaries, and then building out partnerships with external stakeholders. And I'll show you on the next slide kind of a few of those areas. And so the first up there is CVG. And Oxford has a big thriving airport here. And in any event, OXD was taken, the operations were taken over by CVG, and they're doing a great job. And then we have all kinds of big plans in the future around research and those kind of things. And so that's going great. Stryker has been a great partner with us. They're up there in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and one of the divisional presidents is one of our alums, and we've been working with them, and they're going to outfit a new building with state-of-the-art equipment, which I'll show you in a second. And they already did one on our regional campuses with all the Stryker equipment. And we work with them on curriculum development, particularly around a sales certificate for those that are coming into the Stryker company. Cleveland Clinic, we work with them around a training program for data science, and we train their employees and their folks at Cleveland Clinic on that. And so that's a really nice curriculum program we do with them. And then TriHealth does a wonderful job with our students, and they look at all of our student health, and we have a partnership with them. And I'll show you the new building they'll be going in on campus. And then just recently, we announced the Leadership Institute with Lilly with our STEM students, and it's housed in the division, it's housed in the College of Engineering and Computing, and it actually takes cohorts of students and trains them not just to be great, STEM professionals, but how to actually lead in the STEM field. So those are a few of our examples of external partnerships. Next slide. And here's a nice picture of our new clinical health sciences building. It'll be online in April of 2023, so just a few short months. It looks great. The inside there, you can see on the inset, is full of very collaborative spaces. It's going to be very innovative in so many different ways, notwithstanding a surgical suite, which we can actually bring in cadavers and so forth, and do training on weekends with physicians and so forth with various companies. So we're really excited about that kind of partnership we're creating. But what it's bringing together is our new nursing program on the Oxford campus, our physician's associate program, physician assistant program that's just been accredited. It will get kicked off here in the fall. Speech pathology and audiology, which has been a very strong department for us for many years. And TriHealth, our partner that takes care of our student health on campus, will be in the building, and we're really excited to have them in this new space. And then we have a speech and hearing clinic on campus here. It's really interesting. It's run out of the department, but we service about 1,000 community members per year. It's largely around hearing aids, but there's other aspects of speech pathology, hearology that they address. So this new building up and going in April at $96 million, and we're very excited about it. It looks great. Next slide. Another new infrastructure project is the data sciences building that'll be opening up in December of 2023. Rick McVeigh, who's a fintech person in New York City, funded this building, and Rick was a golfer and a finance person here at Miami years ago, and so he just loves the place and really enabled us to do something big around our data science. Again, on the inset, you see all the collaborative spaces that we'll have there. It's going to bring together computer science, software engineering, our Department of Statistics, Emerging Technology, Business and Design, which is a new degree program and department for us, the Center for Analytics and Data Science, and the Armstrong Institute for Interactive Media Studies. And so what's interesting for us is that this is bringing together 3 colleges in one building, which we haven't had before. But big science, big data and analytical sciences are such a big deal for all of us now and all of the companies that we're really excited to have this new kind of effort and this new infrastructure to bring together all of our resources and assets in this area. Next slide, please. And then next up, after these 2 are done this year, we're going to build out Bachelor of Arts, our humanities and media journalism film focus. And the insets, the building outside there, if you want to see us on Patterson Avenue, but the big picture there is the atrium that'll be closed off. And then we've always had a strong emphasis in the liberal arts and extraordinary faculty that work in that area at the professor ranks. And you can see that we're going to be more, focused on critical thinking, moral and ethical reasoning, communications, interpretive research, and so forth. So students will get a good broadening dose of the liberal arts, which has always been our rich tradition here at Miami. Next slide. And then this is the one coming up as well. This is very exciting. I think this is great. And you're going to hear more about the arts and science here in a little bit, but it's the Center for Performing Arts. You see the inset there, the external building, but the inside is going to all be redone. It's going to be kind of like an arts incubator. And we're going to be doing all kinds of great things in there. Even though the space is not done, we've already started. But we have, some of our theater majors are now acting as patients in our nursing building, and so we're really excited about that. We have outside work that students will be doing. So, for example, our emerging technology and digital group and department, our fashion and so forth, and actors and actresses that we have that are, with their ambition, they're creating different commercials and different things for startups. And so we can work with you there. And our fashion has been growing at Miami and have a great fashion show every year, but that'll be a part of this new building. And it'll just be a place, a space, which is in combining the arts with all the kind of neat things going on in innovation, technology, and so forth. So we're really excited to get that off and going once our data sciences and our nursing building comes online this year. So next slide. And then one of the areas that we've really been really excited about is our Elm Street. And Elm Street is just the name of a building that sits on Elm Street. It's not very innovative here in Oxford. It was formerly a food facility, and it was just kind of dormant for 30 years. It's nearly a 100-year-old building. But we were looking around, and then the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Tim Wojahn and colleagues, had a report to the USDA, and then it concluded that the arts are a direct force in rural innovation, not just an indirect factor that helps to attract and retain talent for all industries. So what they did is they did a study to see what small town America looked like and how certain areas have revived and how certain areas didn't. And they found that arts plus innovation was the dynamic there that made those communities thrive, that were kind of pivoting or switching or trying something new. And so this is sort of what our sort of whole pitch is with Elm Street. Next slide. And so it's going to combine art, technology, and nature. And so on the art side, we have a community arts building we call Oxford Community Arts Center. And it's our building and it's our land, and we provide it to the community for very little cost. I think it's $10 a year or something like that. And then it's full of all kinds of art exhibitions and galleries and just great space for interaction space. And the third floor is full of sole proprietors that are artists, photographers, architects, painters, sculptors, paper makers, you name it. We have all kinds of creatives up on that third floor. And that's been here for quite some time. And so we're very excited about that. And there's a park in the back, there's a nature in the back, which has an amphitheater, which we can do summertime concerts and so forth. And then across the street was this sort of dilapidated building we call Elm Street. And so we're actually working on that. It's going to actually bring together technology and art in this one block area here in Oxford. So next slide, please. And so this is just a couple of examples. I love to show the painters and the architects that are working in our community arts center. And the hope is that since they're already there and they're doing great kind of entrepreneurial things in and of itself, once we bring in the new technology piece on that block, that we'll be able to have that convergence of art, science, technology, and engineering. Next slide. And so this is what it's going to look like. And it's actually just about done. We're going to launch this on February 16th this year. It looks fantastic. It's about 40,000 square feet. It's got all kinds of great things inside for small startup companies and entrepreneurs. And our entrepreneurship program at Miami has been ranked top 10 in the country for almost 2 decades. And so it's just an extraordinary run. And every year we have tens of student companies that start and graduate and then go off and do great things. And so we want to try to keep them in the area, keep them either at Elm Street or the Cincinnati area, rather than going off into the right and left coast, like get their start right here. So we're very excited about this. Also, part of this, about 20% of the space will be occupied by the Fisher Group. And Al Fisher is a retired engineer from Procter & Gamble, and he has a manufacturing company. So that'll be coming in. So what's unique about this kind of incubator startup or greenhouse is that we'll have all the space for entrepreneurs, the infrastructure that goes around it, of course, rapid prototyping, which there'll be non-functional prototyping, and also we'll have a great machine shop to build out functional prototypes. So then we'll have that manufacturing infrastructure if the company wants to take it that far. So we'll have everything self-contained in one building. So it looks great. February 16th, and we can't wait to get that thing open. It's gorgeous. So next slide. Here's just a couple of pictures on the inside. This is renditions, but it'll be almost exactly what it looks like. And this is a rapid prototyping facility. We're going to have some various aspects of the polymers, chalk, some metal stuff, and so forth in there. So it's looking great. Next slide. I was going to put my office on the third floor, but it's going to be space for students, and it's going to be more of the hoteling space so that you come in and you can pull out your desk and roll it out and start working and then roll it back in. This building's pretty old, and this attic was just really one of those kind of looks that feels so innovative, and it feels sort of industrial. It feels warehousey, and so we're very excited about that. But that'll be spaces for students to come and develop their their new ideas. Next slide. And the roof is fantastic. And so it's going to be opened, of course, when the weather is great, but we'll be able to have events and various things outside there and business plan pitches and so forth. And there'll be access to, places that outside stakeholders want to come in and have parties, what have you. So we'll have that all opened up, and it's a very, very large rooftop. And so we're very excited about that. So that's the College at Elm. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned, the Fisher Group will be coming in. And then Miami University's the John Altman Institute for Entrepreneurship will have a presence there. The city of Oxford will also be in there as well. Ohio Small Development Center will be in there with an office there. The Wright Brothers Institute we've had a really great program with them where we actually pull in their patents and have our students in entrepreneurship and engineering develop them for alternative applications outside the defense field. And 1809 Capital will be in there, and that's a capital group that's consisted of a bunch of Miami alums. 1809 was our founding date. So those are a few of our partners. Next slide, please. And now I'm going to transition and talk a little bit about some of the regional concepts that are going on regional campuses. So in North Hall in Hamilton, Ohio, we're going to actually have a manufacturing facility there. This is the building it's planning to go in. If it still goes in that building, it's going to go into one of the buildings out there in any event. But the Butler County Commissioners actually supported Butler Tech in Miami to build out infrastructure for both curricular training and also for research. So we're very excited about this project that will take off here in 2023 as well. Next slide. And then our sustainability efforts on campus. Miami was really way out in front on this in higher ed. And I'd love to talk about this, but we are our Gold Stars campus. And so it's a ranking that they look at various organizations, and we're at the gold level. So we're very excited about that. But over the past decade, we reduced our carbon footprint per square foot by more than 50%. And then we turned off our coal plant in 2017 here at Miami. So the first phase is basically done. We're down below 50% of our carbon footprint of what we used last year. We had tens of millions of dollars of savings. Phase 2 is going on right now with both efficiency and more geothermal, which has been our big thing, and then hot water, taking steam to hot water. And so that's great. So that'll be wrapping up here in about a year. And then the next phase is going to be the hard work and moving it towards carbon neutrality in the future and trying to get the rest of the 40–50% off of our carbon footprint. And so we'll electrify our campus with geothermal and our steam to hot water. So we'll be off fossil fuels just about completely. And then we'll have to take care of that electricity bill with solar, or perhaps some hydro options that we're looking into. So great stuff on the sustainability front. Next slide, please. And then our DEI efforts. We've got all kinds of great things going on. I thought I'd bring this sort of project up with the business community, but we've won the HEAT Award for 3 years in a row, and that's a Higher Education Excellence and Diversity Award. But one of our efforts was around this certificate program, which each one of these little modules is about an hour. And it's done by specialists and scholars in these areas. And we really have this great DEI certificate program if you're interested. And it actually won the Telly Award on the bronze category. So we're quite happy about that this year. So next slide. Our Early College Academy got launched on our regional campuses this year. And what's really cool about it is we leverage the College Credit Plus program of the state of Ohio. So juniors and seniors in high school come to our campus and they take all college courses, and then they graduate with both an associate degree and their high school diploma at no cost. And so we have both Middletown and Hamilton that have started this year as our inaugural school systems. And then we have 5 more from our greater area coming on board next year. Next slide, please. And this is one of our exciting programs at the regional campuses. Well, we call it Work Plus. Former Ohio Senator Coley worked with us on this and was a great visionary around it. But what we have is we have 15 partner companies. Students come in and sign up at our regional campuses as full-time students, and they interview at our company. They get hired by a company, and then they work 24 hours a week, somewhere between $16 and $22 an hour per hour, and then the company reimburses their entire tuition. So it's a salary for the student part-time. The tuition is free. It's interesting because it's not just a work or an internship. It's a 4-year resume once they graduate, because they have all this experience, and oftentimes they move up into leadership while they're students. And it was put into Ohio law by Governor DeWine, House Bill 614, so that this could be expanded across the state. So we're very excited about that. We have 15 partner companies now. We'll be up to 20 next year. Next slide. And then that's sort of my summary. I wanted to thank everybody for the opportunity and let you know kind of what's going on at Miami. You know, we're really open for collaborations with all businesses. We have all kinds of great things going on. And I think some other bragging points I wanted to end with that we just recently got our art museum named after Richard Cox. Amazon Career Campus, we are one of those now that was just announced. We had record research funding this past year, which we're really excited about because we can do a lot more than we've ever done before. And our fundraising campaign for philanthropy has kicked off. We are now right more than $600 million since it's gotten going in 2016. And our biggest gift came in this past year at 46 million, all for need-based scholarships. And then just this year, just a few days ago, we closed our books and we had our first $100 million year for fundraising. The Lilly Leadership Institute launch was very exciting this past year. Our DEI award. I'm always looking for national champions, and well, we got our synchronized skating team won the national championships this year. So 20th time they won that. So all kinds of great stuff going on at Miami. It's great to work with everybody in the sort of the greater Cincinnati area. We'd love to hear from you if we can be of help or be of service or collaborate or partner on anything that you might have or anything that might come to mind. So please do reach out, and thank you everyone, and Happy New Year.
Thank you, President Crawford. We've got just a couple of minutes for a couple of questions. I see one hand raised. I'm going to get to Kurt, but I just want to say thank you. Your enthusiasm and for what is happening on campus is absolutely tremendous. And every time I come up there, on my way up, I say, oh, I'm going up there and I think it's going to be such a far drive. It is not a far drive. And I say that, I'm underscoring it for people because you should go there and you should find ways, whether it's connecting with President Crawford or connecting with the team that he is building up there. This is a group of leaders who have a culture of innovation and who are trying at every turn to find meaningful partnerships with the business community as a whole. And so do the drive yourself and you will see it is not far. And when you get there, you're going to want to do it again. So it's really great. This is a tremendous overview of what's happening at Miami. So thank you again. Hey, Kurt, do you have a question that you want to ask? I'm not sure if I know how to, or maybe that was a mistake. I can't tell if Kurt has a question or not. If anybody has any questions, they want to put it in the Q&A chat, feel free to let me know. All right. Can you tell me just before we go, I'm going to ask this because I alluded to it in the question. The recruitment pool for Miami, it is truly a global institution. Can you tell me a little bit about your strategy about how you're going about making sure that Miami's on the radar and how you're continuing to attract people from really all over the country?
Yes, so we've really put a lot of resources in the past few years in our sort of career center. And so what we call it is career exploration and student success. And one of the big aspects of what our strategy was that rather than having mom and dad bug you when you're a junior or senior to go to see the career center, is we start them off with the day one when they walk on campus. So it's very unique, not many schools do that. And so they both have an academic advisor and a career advisor right off the bat. And so our sort of mantra there is, learn by doing, improve with practice, and learn through experience. And one of the aspects of that is one, we want to actually not just have our students graduate with one internship, but two. So we want to take it to that level. And then we'd love to have them both have a startup experience and a big co-experience if that's possible. We think that's a great thing to have on the resume. And the second aspect too is we've been working with career, and so that we can offer students sort of non-credit bearing credentials that get them more ready for industry and so forth once they graduate. And so you'll see our students with other kinds of credentials on their resume in addition to their degree and their curriculum that they've studied. So both the internship and getting two of those rather than one, and then building out more sort of really things that really benefit the theoretical aspect of our education, our liberal arts education through practice and credentialing that are non-credit bearing.
That's terrific. How about on the front end too, in terms of recruiting from high schools into the university? It's coming from all over the world. The students are. Have you seen growth in that area? Folks coming from outside Ohio? I know that's a big driver for the student body.
Yeah, so it's what's great about Miami, there'll be a category which rankings look at geographical diversity, and for a public institution, we have students from some all 50 states and some 50 to 60 different countries, and so we're very fortunate. The out-of-state student population tends to be running around 38% to 40%, kind of on a given year. So we definitely do have a presence for a public institution. And a state institution, it's a very large out-of-state contribution for participants. So we do have that reach. We have alumni groups in every state and many countries around the world. And so, we thought, we have a big state mission here, but we have an international reputation as well. And so we really push hard on that. So it's been growing. The last year's incoming class was a little smaller, but it was intentional because the year before was really big. And so we had the record year class 2 years ago, and then we had because since we have a 2-year living requirement, we had to lower it just a little bit to get them in. And then right now our application pool, we've broken every record that we've ever had. We have over 31,000 applications already, and the deadline's this spring. So looking good.
That's awesome. Kurt did respond to something. It's not a question, but I'll let him have the last word here. Is he remarked that the Free Store Food Bank has participated in the Entrepreneurship Weekend over the last 4 years, and is currently participating with Mark Knut, who is working teaching a social justice program at Miami. They're working with the Free Store operations to understand the impact of the work that the Free Store undertakes to stabilize families. And Kurt wanted to thank Miami for these efforts and including Free Store in the student outreach. I think that's a great example of the kind of approach that President Crawford and the entire team at Miami have. And so that's a tremendous kudos there from Kurt. President Crawford, thank you so much for spending this dark and stormy morning with us. Brighter days ahead, as we talked about. So thank you again. Please, if you're on the call and you want to reach out to President Crawford's office, you can do that. And I am going to turn it now back over to my colleague, Thomas Deere. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brendan. I'm not going to say anything about being busy because President Crawford, you've been busy. I'm amazed with the growth. I'm amazed with the collaboration you guys have in the region. Thank you so much for all you do, and thank you for being on our call today.
Thank you. It's wonderful to see everybody. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Switching gears, it's my pleasure to introduce 2 chamber members who've been making an impact on the community. First up is Tiani Amat, the president and CEO of Cincinnati Works. Tiani is a visionary leader with over 20 years of experience in leadership and education. She's recognized for developing leaders to create high-functioning environments. Prior to Cincinnati Works, she served as the Cincinnati Public Schools Deputy Superintendent. In looking at Cincinnati Works, their mission and vision say it all. Their mission is to partner with all willing and capable people living in poverty to assist them in advancing to economic self-sufficiency through employment. And their vision is to lead the effort to eliminate poverty in our region. Tiani, welcome, and tell us more about Cincinnati Works.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure. Happy New Year to everyone. And it's an honor to just share a little bit about Cincinnati Works. And if we can pull up that 1-page slide. There we go. At Cincinnati Works, basically, our vision and mission is to eliminate poverty. And we have been doing this for 27 years. Our basic principle is around believing in the human spirit, the resiliency of the human spirit of people. And in order to connect with that, I ask you to take a few moments and just to think about the process of you going out and getting a job. right? You're doing research, you're prepping with interviews. And then when you nail that job, you're excited, you're calling people. And in my former life of teaching, so many teachers, it's generational, right? So their grandmothers were teachers, their mom or dad were teachers, and now they're teachers. So they have an insider of understanding the institution that they're working in. And then what Cincinnati Works do, we realize that everyone doesn't have that opportunity. The systems are set up that have barriers to those success. So what we do at Cincinnati Works, we eliminate some of those barriers by partnering with our members. And we do that through access, advancement, and retention. So an example of access is professional development and teaching soft skills training. Anything from knowing a little bit about yourself and how to work on a team. We also have a digital literacy class that we started during COVID, and saw that there was a huge gap there, the digital divide. And then through advancement, we look at working with organizations to put pipelines through. So working with frontline workers to see how they can advance in their careers. And we do that through relationships, one-on-one coaching for pursuit in advancing in careers. We also do financial coaching. And part of that is our hook. We provide free tax services. So our members set goals anywhere from, hey, I need a car to get to work, to purchasing their very first home, which we just had someone close a few weeks ago. And then lastly, just the last 6 years, we started Workforce Connection for a fee base. We work with employers with their frontline workers to again, remove those barriers. 20% of our populations are fair chance workers, so have criminal records, and working with employers on policies that will help be inclusive to that population. 30% of our population has degrees, and most of the people who are coming to us have jobs, so they are really underemployed. So working through our partnerships with our members and working within our employers. And so our impact has been great on the community. We had about over 11,000 job placement in the last 27 years, which totaled about 126 million in income. We have had an economic benefit of 30 million, meaning people who have jobs pay taxes, and then also moving people off of social assistance programs. That was about 20 million. The 2022 year, we had our members receive close to $1 million in tax returns. We are currently working with 9 local employers on that employment support. So anywhere from helping with staffing, working and coaching frontline employees to help with retention. And we have the data to show that really having that personal relationship with an outside entity like Cincinnati Works keep the employers at work. And then what we heard over and over again is that the local employers who work with us and partner with us from their staff members is that our employers care. And I think that's the first step of having a wonderful environment that is inclusive and that will retain the workforce. And lastly, our return on investment for our organization is 375%. So just the impact we have on the city, working with employers, partnering with our members is tremendous. And I just thank the Chamber for allowing me to share a little bit about Cincinnati Works. So thank you.
Tiani, did you say 11,000 jobs in the last 25 years? Did I hear that correctly?
That's correct.
That's awesome. That's terrific. Your first statement hit home, and I believe tells me what Cincinnati Works is all about, believing in the human spirit. If more people would have that mantra, it would just be such a better, we'd be in a better world. And it's a true
Yes.
calling to help others remove barriers. So thank you. Thank you for all you do for our region. Thank you for all you do for our community. And thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Next up is Dale Tesman, the founder of Hyperquake. Dale has been a leading story building disciple at Hyperquake for the past 5 years, where they've created more than 100 experience centers around the globe. Hyperquake builds stories, they build brands and businesses rooted in truth. They are creative anthropologists uncovering truths to better understand and empathize with people. It's those truths that drive them to continually embed what they call DIG, diversity, inclusion, and growth, into the foundation of how they operate. Dale, welcome, and tell us more about Hyperquake.
Hey, thanks so much, Tom. So I really appreciate it, and Happy New Year to everybody. I will say we've really enjoyed being a member of this group, and it's a really hard act to follow, Tiani, after seeing everything that you guys are doing for the community. So love to introduce you a little bit more to Hyperquake. As Thomas mentioned, I've got the title of Story Building Founder, and I think that's the title they give to you when you're the oldest person in the company. So if there are any other founders out there, I think that's kind of the definition of where we're at. I've been in this business for about 35 years, most of it all here in Cincinnati. My background, as Thomas kind of started alluding to, is I had 10 years in brand and finance at P&G, and then 16 at a company called Jack Rouse Associates. Before I started actually a company called The Brand Experience in 2004. And in 2017, I had the opportunity to merge the company into Hyperquake. And if you want to go to the next slide, Brad, that would be awesome. And I was going to stick around for 2 years and kind of retire. And it's now 2023. And I love what we're doing. I love the passion that everybody brings to the work that we're doing. So it's really an honor for me to be able to come in front of you and kind of share with you a little bit about Hyperquake as a company. So next slide, please. So Hyperquake was founded in 1986 here in Cincinnati, and is now a company of about 70 writers, designers, strategists, marketers, and producers, located not only here at the Edge on the east side of Cincinnati, the Edge building, but also in Washington, D.C. and Park City, Utah. Not a bad place to be right now if you're a big skier. As Thomas was mentioning, we're a creative services firm that cultivates lasting customer loyalty for our clients by building their brands, their stories, and their businesses rooted in truth. Now, the word truth is really important to us because when we're finding truths, that helps us to identify insights that give our clients an unfair advantage when they're engaging customers and growing their businesses. At our core, on the right-hand side of the slide, you can see that our core, we're guided by 4 values: to build ideas, trust, and culture. We incite passion and be curious. We're real. We love to be real, be authentic, and we respect each other. We value each other, we value our clients, and value what we stand for. So I thought the best way to kind of give you a little bit of color to who we are and what we do, we'd play a quick video, about 1-minute video, of some of the work we do. So Brad, if you want to kick that, that'd be awesome. Then we can go to the next slide. So unfortunately, you didn't hear the background music. It was just a hard driving drum beat that usually wakes us up in the morning when we play it.
If we want to do
But you saw just a variety of businesses and projects that we've worked on over the years. So, but all the work that you just saw really falls into one or more of our what we call our 3 lenses of work that you can see on the left-hand side of the page. It's brand building, it's story building, and business building. These lenses give us the ability to meet any of our clients where they're at. So for brand building, you know, we would love to have you contact us if you're a startup and need a brand like Wine Society, or if you need a brand refresh like Pure Romance or Whitman College, or a complete brand evolution like Greenworks. In the story building block, we love to contact you. I'd love to have you contact us if you need an experience to bring your brand or company to life in a physical space like an innovation center, like we've done for Cummins or P&G, or the lobby in 8451, or a mobile exhibit like we've done for Duracell or OB. And for business building, we want you to contact us if you need to de-risk innovation to make it to the market faster and to beat out competition like we've done with Nike and Mastercraft. And you saw a little bit of that in the video. But at the end of the day, I think when we can bring these lenses of disciplines really to our clients, you know, the result is powerful, outcome-driven, connected customer experiences. That's kind of what we do, and we really help our clients grow that way. What we love to do is we look for the toughest challenges, and the result, again, I love the idea of 3s, and Dr. Crawford brought it up for us. For us, it's the business building, brand building, and story building combined really brings great experiences to life. So we look forward to your toughest challenges and contacting us if you have a chance. Thank you.
That's fantastic. What you said was true. When you meet a hyperquake storyteller, which I've had the privilege to do, you'll know what Dale said. They're real. You get the truth. And Dale, one thing I heard about you, or maybe I read about you, that you love what you do is you love 100% of the time. And that is so true. So happy New Year, and thank you for your time today. And the other comment I want to make, that one of the themes that are interwoven in today, whether it's President Crawford, Tiani, or yourself, Dale, everybody talked about connecting, whether it's with people, it's within the region, and that's what's so impressive. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I want to thank these members for being part of our monthly briefing. And if you're interested in being part of the monthly briefing, please reach out to me at tdeere, TDEERE at CincinnatiChamber.com. So joining us now is our very own and my colleague, Audrey Treasure. She's the Vice President and Executive Director of the Workforce Innovation Center at the Chamber. She has established the center as a central place to support companies in solving challenges, recruiting new sources of talent, and implementing inclusive capitalism practices within businesses to benefit their organizations. Audrey, I know you've been buzzing around here, and I know you have some exciting news to share. Take it away. The introduction was so great that she's speechless. I'm teasing. I think her screen is frozen.
Audrey seems to be frozen, and I am gonna go grab her real quick and see if she wants to come into my office.
So it is not my introduction that has her speechless. And I mean what I said earlier. It's just amazing sitting on this call and listening to the talent and the people. It's not just the level of talent, it's how much you all care for the region, how much you care about connecting, how much you care, not just, yeah, I understand you care about your business, but you're here to support and make this such a better place to live and grow in the community. So, okay.
Well, thanks for filling in for me, Thomas.
It's all yours.
I mean, I literally pressed my camera and unmute and my computer shutting down in another room. So hi, everyone. So sorry for the delay. I'm down the hall now in Brendan's office, and I'm really pleased to talk with you about the Workforce Innovation Center this morning. What's kind of exciting about the entire monthly member briefing today, it's about people, it's about stories, it's about talent, it's about workforce, and that's what the Cincinnati Chamber is all about, and specifically what we're doing here at the Workforce Innovation Center. So we are a talent consulting practice that is dedicated to helping employers improve their workplace practices for the benefit of people and for the success of their business. As you see on the slide there, what that means is that we help employers find solutions and we provide recommendations with proven results. Our focus is on helping employers with employee attraction, retention, advancement, mobility, and centering everything that we do with diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. We, just like Dale was saying that Hyperquake does and their clients and brand, we want to meet clients where they are and help them solve their biggest talent related issues. Some of the things that we accomplish for our clients, you'll see here, we help them attract new sources of talent, increase their employee retention, cultivate employee engagement, enhance their current policies, practices, and benefits, earn recognition as an employer of choice. We'll tell you a bit about how we do that and how you can be a part of that. Become more diverse, equitable, inclusive, and foster belonging, as well as improve your own organizational culture and benchmark against regional peers. We know that the employment market is changing, particularly with Gen Z. I thought President Crawford might talk a little bit more about how college students are really changing the game for colleges and for the workforce. And so we want to help everyone be prepared for that. Next, I'd like to talk through what some of our services are and a bit of how our process works. So we have 3 standard service offerings that we've developed over the last 4 years to help you understand more about your workforce and the true causes to the challenges that you might be experiencing. So we offer an employee survey that captures information about your people, not only their experiences at work and their perception of your organization, but also the things about their personal lives that might be affecting their ability to come to work successfully. So when we think about a modern workplace, we are all bringing our true selves to work, and the pandemic laid this bare for many of us, whether that's health issues, transportation challenges, childcare issues, or whatever it could be. If your employer understands more about you and what you're facing, they might be better able to help create a work environment where you can be successful. We offer a policy and practice review where you're able to understand what modern and best practices are and how to help move your employee handbook from its existing state to its best practice state. And we also conduct a workforce analysis where we're able to look at your employee data using your own payroll system and then compare it to your industry and regional peers to find out where you might be succeeding really well and where you have opportunities to advance. Once we do an analysis of those 3 services, we take that information and we help you create a plan. So we provide back to you the raw data from whichever service you selected, and then we have a team of consultants I'll tell you more about who do a comprehensive analysis of that data, present to you their findings, and then present to you what we think you should do next. Again, trying to meet you where you are. A few examples of what we've done with clients are on our next slide. One company has removed the requirement for a diploma or GED, understanding that they could help to train people without that specific qualification to still be successful in work. Another company engaged us to help them find diverse candidates and overhaul their entire hiring and recruitment process. So they really created ways for people to be successful regardless of their background. Several companies have increased wages, which is important. And to Tiani's point about people in poverty deserve a chance to move ahead, we're working with employers to help them do that, as well as several companies are building career paths and advancement opportunities so employees know what they can do to become more economically stable. That last bullet there is that we've connected several companies with nonprofit and higher education providers like Cincinnati Works, Miami, Free Store Food Bank, Kurt was on the call, so that employers in the region know who's here in our community that can help them solve problems. The way that we do this is a 3-step process. We do a deep dive with leadership to understand what their real pain points are and what they're looking to accomplish. We then execute whichever service or services a client has elected. And then we present those report findings and our customized recommendations. An additional thing that we've built out in 2022 and beyond is our ability to help employers with customized HR needs. So we've learned from clients that while they might want to do an employee survey, they want to do more and their HR teams are typically strapped or small and they need additional resources. So on the slide here is an example of some of the things that we can do with our clients, and we've created several customized engagements to help employers solve their most pressing talent needs. A new offering that we have for 2023 is our workforce analysis service. We're calling it a light version. It takes out the leadership engagement process and the recommendations, because what we've heard from some employers that they just want to know, how are they doing compared to others? I like to joke that no matter how old we are, we're still affected by peer pressure and comparing ourselves to other people. So actually this service gives you the chance to see how you're doing. And if you'd like to take it further than that, we'd love to help you do that. So let us know if you're interested in our Workforce Analysis Lite or any of our other services. The way we're able to deliver on all of these things is through a really high quality team of consultants. These individuals on the screen are trained in human resources, organizational development, diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging, and a myriad of other things that are important to running a successful talent operation, especially in today's current talent market. We provide customized pricing on every engagement we do with clients that's based upon your size and the specific services you're wanting to work with us on. And all chamber members receive a discount on Workforce Innovation Center services. Additionally, I'm delighted to share some other offerings that we provide to the community as a whole and as a part of our work with specific clients. So we partner with a large number of nonprofit, social service, government agencies, for-profit entities in the community that offer services to employers to help them solve problems. You'll see a few of their logos listed here on the screen. There are many, many others that we work with, and we really can do a one-to-one matching, making introductions between individuals, employers, and these providers, or we can help to present a variety of information about what's out there, as you can see in the next slide, where we've built a workforce and talent ecosystem map. This is searchable. You're able to look for things like, who are folks that help with childcare and 4C for Children comes up, or who are those organizations that work with immigrants and refugees, and you can search for that information. I will say that we're getting ready to launch our new website in February of 2023, so all this will look a little bit different in just a few weeks, and I hope you'll explore it. The next offering that we provide is in conjunction with the Cincinnati Chamber, and that's a career board where you can get posted your jobs on this site. It's a really simple process, and we're trying to capture the benefits of what it's like to work for your organization. We launched this in December of 2021, and we've grown tremendously over the last year. We'd love to have your organizations listed on the site. It's a free service as a part of the Cincinnati Chamber membership, and we'll work with you on any challenges you need to get yourselves posted. One of the great things about this too is that it helps us understand more about you. And if you choose to work with us, we're able to dig in and get started with you right away. Finally, I wanted to tout a few of the great things that have happened with the Workforce Innovation Center over the last year, and about how this little organization here in Cincinnati, Ohio is having a national impact. Hopefully you saw last April that Cincinnati was featured as one of a few key cities across the region doing significant things on economic development. And the Workforce Innovation Center was one of the great organizations listed as a promising practice, along with the Minority Business Accelerator here at the Chamber and several others. So check that out, we've got some time. We're also really pleased that we joined the Council for Inclusive Capitalism as an ally. This is a global organization focused on making capitalism work better for all people, particularly focused on employees and the environment. So we've joined as an ally. We're recruiting additional employers, particularly companies, to join as stewards. And we have 4 companies in the works becoming stewards now. If you're interested in that, we'd be happy to talk with you further about that. In 2022, we also formed the Talent Collaborative of Greater Cincinnati. That means that we partnered with 4 other organizations, both in Ohio and Kentucky, to strengthen how we all work together to create a talent pipeline for today and the future's economy. This means we also became part of the National Fund for Workforce Solutions, where we're able to draw down significant dollars from national funders, as well as serve as a best practice model for others. We hope that you'll join us in our mission and vision. That's on the next slide. We're trying to make the Cincinnati region better, one company at a time, for you as employers and for your employees. And if you're interested in getting involved with us, the next slide outlines several different ways that you can join us. We're happy to talk further about your talent needs. Thank you, Thomas and team, for the chance to present today.
Holy cow, when I said you had news, you had news. That was awesome. Audrey, thank you and your team for all you do to support the businesses in the region. Well done. To conclude today's meeting, I do want to share some upcoming events that I want you to make sure you're aware of. First of all, on January 24th, we have the We Speak Women in Medicine that are redefining the healthcare journey. Will be from 9 to 11 at the Cincinnati Chamber. January 31st, the Leadership Roundtable exclusive, reputational hygiene for marketers, 8:30 to 10. And February 9th, the third session of Diversity in STEM, Girls in STEM, and the Educational Corridor at Ensemble Health Partners. I talked to Beth McNeil yesterday, and boy, we have a great lineup of speakers for that. You can find more information on the Chamber website on the calendar and get registered for all these events. We have another event coming up. I think some of you maybe have heard of the annual dinner and the celebration of honoring great living Cincinnatians. This is an unbelievable event for the Chamber every year. For those of you that have been to it, you know this is a can't miss program. Those that haven't been before, do yourself a favor. Make sure you bring some of your colleagues, attend, find out the great things going on in our community that maybe you don't know about. This year's motto is a legacy and promise. We have unbelievable people we're honoring. Mr. Kleekamp, Miss Reed, Mr. Shakely, and Mr. Smith. It's going to be a great night at the Duke Energy Center. For more information, again, that's on our website, or you can also reach out to me and I'll make sure you get taken care of. And the last thing I want to say is our next monthly member briefing will be February 2nd. And we're going to hear from Mark Clement, the president of TriHealth. And I encourage you, you're going to hear another great keynote speaker, another great couple of member spotlights, and another great chamber update. I look forward to seeing you all at the events, seeing you in the community, and Happy New Year from all of us at the chamber. Have a great day, everybody.